Ladies and gentlemen, it's Tony here from TD Newton, and I want to ask you this question. Do you struggle with making choices? Do you have too many choices to make, or do you not have enough? If you're a creative person, most likely you are so creative that it drives you to the point of insanity with the infinite number of options available to you. For myself, sometimes I struggle with ideas like, should I write a new novel set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland run by politically correct feminist Marxists? Or should I do a self-help video about following your passions? Or should I start a podcast about dating? Or should I create a graphic novel about the life of Mexican fruit pickers? Right? There are just so many infinite possibilities. But where the existential angst comes in is asking yourself, if I take this path, say if I take this job in accounting, or I decide to write this novel that's going to take 2 years, will that lead me to a dead end, a poor decision, an existential ego death, the inability to make enough money to pay for your kid's college degree? You know, there's so many choices that making the wrong choice is incredibly easy, and it happens in your head before you even take the actions. You're already defeating yourself before you even try. So how do you deal with this? Okay, so first off, understand that you do live in a universe of infinite possibilities. Now, the infinite possibility that you choose, is it going to be the right one? Nobody knows. There is no answer. You can make wise decisions based on your objective, though. So say your objective is to make $100,000 a year. Well, that's really easy. What pays $100,000 a year? You might look up some data on the internet and see that if you became a lawyer for corporate law, chances are you could make $100,000 a year. Now, if you wanted to become a potter who creates works of art about in the shape of Taiwanese elephants, which I think are extinct, now that's going to be a very hard struggle to make $100,000 a year, right? So what's your objective? Like, for example, say you want to start a YouTube channel, but you just don't know what to choose for a topic. Maybe you want to do comedy. Maybe you want to talk about fine art. Maybe you want to help people increase their income. But the idea of making a video channel about increasing your income causes roadblocks because you think creatively that might be very limiting and it's not going to lead to ultimate happiness, right? Or if you decide to make pottery in the shape of elephants, you think that could be really fun, but what if I get bored of elephants? What if nobody else cares about elephants and my niche market is limited because people don't have a high demand, the world doesn't have a high demand for niche elephant pots? This is where we get fucked up, right? Because we'll get stuck in these thought loops thinking about the roadblocks and the passageways to different objectives. But there is no one model objective to a happy life. For example, say you wanted to be a professional poker player, and so you studied everything on poker, and it totally fascinated you. You know, you're 27 years old, you're finding out that, you know, you can understand these equations, you got some poker game, you start playing, you start making some money, the next thing you know, you're making $500,000 a year playing poker. Chances are you're going to become very, very bored of playing poker at some point. So when you get to that stage in your life, and you've been playing poker for 12 years, and it's just such a fucking grind to go there and sit down and play another hand. You don't want to have the same conversations with the same people about the same subject over and over and over. Why is it that thing that you had so much passion about has now dried up completely inside you and left you feeling like a empty husk of a soul with no passion for your subject? Why didn't you foresee that? Well, that's because when you first entered into that area of interest, you saw a bright and open future. You may have thought, the money that I get, the freedom that I get is going to allow me an infinite number of possibilities. And you didn't anticipate the prison of limited possibility that being attached to one concept would limit you to, right? And so this is why we get stuck in our ideas creatively, because we start to imagine all the roadblocks and prisons, self-imposed prisons, that choosing this path might put us into, like becoming a mother, Oh, it would be great to raise a life, but what if you raise the kid wrong and they become like a kleptomaniac and they're obsessed with stealing pens from Walmart, or chronic masturbators and you have to take them to the doctor all the time because they've rubbed their penis raw, right? Now, it would be very stupid of me to say, don't worry. This is what self-help, New Age self-help will say. Don't worry about the roadblocks. Don't worry about any limitations. You can be whatever you want to be. That's not true. Because if you're 4'10", chances are you aren't going to play in the NBA. Maybe you can practice to become the best forward guy, the best defense player, but you're not. Just because. Just like if you have a very, very, very low IQ, you have a learning disability, chances are you aren't going to be a Harvard intellectual on the history of forbidden archaeology. Right? But you could try. You can try, because here's the brilliance of being human, of being creative, in that anything you try will end up in some sort of existential roadblock for you. You will eventually lose interest in that subject to some degree. But this is why you have to open up the possibility that inside everything you learn and everything you try, there's another lesson and another pathway that will branch out of that. Right? For example, say you want to make a YouTube video like this. You don't know what to do. So if you go back one video before, I just did this ridiculous, absurdist video about how to make $5 by selling your mouth under the bridge. Right? And now I'm giving you some kind of inspirational self-help video. Why did that happen? Because they're related. And every subject that I talk about into the camera is something that I had to think about and figure out. And every time I solve a problem, and humans love solving problems, right? We are problem-solving machines. Every time you solve a problem, you create an infinite number of new problems to solve. Sounds like a nightmare, right? But that's the genius of being a human. The thing I love about it as a creative is that there is an infinite number of problems to solve. So I'm not going to say just don't think about your options, just do it. You know, I'm not a Nike spokesperson. But what I'm telling you is that if you want to have a bright future where you are fulfilled creatively and making a living, it's totally possible. But you're going to have to work your ass off. And when you find yourself hitting those roadblocks, either in the process, before the process, or at the end of that process, just ask yourself this question. What don't I know? Right? If you're in accounting and you're bored to death of accounting, you might ask yourself, why am I bored with accounting? And that could open up a whole new range of options for you to explore. How to help accountants who are bored of accounting, right? If you're making bongs, and it was so amazing that you were making these beautiful things, and now you just have a robot doing it for you. Or you own a factory and you have a team of Filipinos making your bongs for you. It might not be so rewarding, but you're going to have all this money, right, possibly, to create new projects with. It never ends. What really matters is that you do something, okay? So now I'm going to say just do it. Do something. Do something every day that moves you a little bit closer towards solving that ultimate question. What is the meaning of being a human being? What is the point of being here, right? You are bored because you've stopped solving problems. You are stuck because you're not solving problems. That's why we're here. That's what humans love to do. We love to solve problems, if not ours, then other people's. And you can do that in as simple a way as making someone laugh. You know, how can I make myself laugh today? Maybe if I share that with people, it will make other people laugh. Right? How to make $5. How to teach 80-year-olds to use Cialis. I don't know. There's something to solve. If you just dedicate your life to solving problems, you will never run out of ideas. Never. Okay, but you have to actually make something. Otherwise, you're just going to get stuck in your head solving problems and end up broken alone, which wouldn't be so bad if you're a monk, but most of us aren't monks. Okay, guys, I'm Tony. Like and subscribe.